Hey everyone, I'm super excited to share with you this huge announcement about what Top Development is, what its mission is, and what we're doing. This has been something that we have been working on for over 2 years now, and I'm super excited to finally bring it to you today. So let's go ahead and hop right in.
What if you could win 40 grand without needing a pre-written screenplay, only write 25% of a screenplay, have 2,000% better odds than any comparable competition, have the judges model the process alongside you, and if you win, a guarantee that your screenplay will be produced into a movie? If you are pursuing screenwriting as a career but haven't found a way to break into the industry yet, writing screenplays as a hobby but haven't found a way to take screenwriting seriously as a career, or are an avid movie lover and want to see your stories made into movies, then I have something super exciting to show you today. The screenwriter's path is broken. Here is the current way. In the current way, you're supposed to walk through all of these steps that the industry tells you to go through. You move to LA, you intern, you have to have a part-time job as well. Maybe you become a production assistant and maybe a writer's assistant after that. Then you're a junior writer and you can join a writer's room, but ultimately you're stuck working on others' work. Or you cannot move to LA. You can join film school. After that, there's really not a ton of options for you other than submitting to multiple competitions, hundreds of cold queries to reps, trying to get a manager or agent, but maybe that works out, maybe it doesn't. And more than likely, you're going to end up with zero tangible results and you're going to either give up or get stuck. So it's really hard to get to this red circle over on the other side, to actually see your film or show get made. And the biggest problem with this path is that it takes way too long. If you take either of these paths here, it will take you at least 10 years to go through all of this to even have a good shot of getting your film or show made. We saw this too, and we're here to change it. And that's why I'm super excited to announce Top Development, a story-focused studio. So who is Top Development? Top Development is a group of writers, producers, and financial investors that are committed to having story quality be the reason a screenplay gets greenlit for production and not for any other reason. So we have now found 4 key problems in the screenwriter's path. Number 1, poor script quality. It's very hard to write a high quality screenplay. Number 2, writing is slow and exhausting. Even if you do write a high quality screenplay, it takes you a very, very long time. Number 3, the industry as a whole is not story focused, therefore putting writers in a bad position when they're trying to break in because the industry is not valuing their work as the most important piece of the film. And because of this, screenwriters can't break in. Now we have created 4 solutions to solve each one of these problems. Number 1, to solve poor script quality, we have created the Top Development Story Framework. To solve the writing fatigue problem, we have created a team-based writing system that allows you to write way faster without writer fatigue. Number 3, we have created Top Development Studios to create a studio that is story-focused, that's placing the quality of the story first and foremost in production. And finally, we have created the Top Development Runway, a new way for screenwriters to break into the industry. So problem 1, poor script quality. So these are some films that have been released by the industry over the last few years. These films had everything going for them. They had the budget, they had the actors, they had the huge studio backing, but what do we see here, right? What are they missing? These films had a huge production budget, they had A-list actors, they had a big studio backing, but ultimately they're missing the most important piece, which is a great story. The problem is that you can put millions of dollars into a film, get all of the actors together, have all of the studio backing and all of that marketing push going for you, but if you don't have that great story, the film will still not be successful. It will still not do what it set out to do, which was to tell a great story. That is the purpose of films, to tell a great story first and foremost. And if they're not doing that, then they have failed at what they were built to do. So we have solved this problem with the Top Development Story Framework. This is our framework at a glance here. So essentially, this framework has been built over my time working with hundreds of screenwriters on their screenplays directly, me and them one-on-one actually working on their screenplay. And here's some examples of the successes that we've had. For example, this is Paul. He wrote a script called Marathon alongside me. We rebuilt his screenplay together based upon the story framework, and he got an 8.9 out of 10 and got his script picked up. Norman and I worked on his script, Paradise Africa, and he got a 9.3 on his screenplay after working in the Top Development Story Framework. And finally, this is Joe, who got an 8.7 after working with me to clarify his story vision based upon the Top Development Story Framework. And this framework has been built by working directly with all of these writers that you see here and hundreds more. This is not something that I just came up with on a whim. This is something that I have adjusted and changed and battle tested over time, working directly with screenwriters, hearing their questions, hearing their concerns, hearing what was not clear to them, so that we could create a unified story framework that would be clear no matter what kind of story you are telling. Problem 2, writing is slow and exhausting. It took Christopher Nolan 10 years to finish the script for Inception. It took Quentin Tarantino almost 10 years as well to complete the script for Inglourious Basterds. And it took Michael Arndt 100 drafts of his screenplay Little Miss Sunshine to finally get it to the place it needed to be. This is simply too long. If it takes 10 years to write a great screenplay, we might as well give up now. And 100 drafts to finally get it where you need it to be is simply way too much, and it just creates this exhaustion. And if you've ever tried to write a screenplay, you know what I'm talking about. It's very likely that you wrote 30 pages of your screenplay and then you got stuck, you realized you hate the screenplay, you hate writing now, you were exhausted, you're like, I can't imagine writing another 60 pages for this thing, and then you walk away from it. Maybe you come back a couple of months later, maybe you start back on that idea, but more than likely you try to start a new screenplay, right? Maybe you wrote that one, maybe you didn't, maybe you got caught up in the outlining phase and you never could actually make the jump into the screenplay because you know how difficult it is to actually write that draft. And if you finish that draft and you got to the end of that screenplay, it's very likely that the last thing you wanted to do is try to rewrite it and make it good, because you just spent all of this time trying to get to the finish line, and it's just this painful process. So we have developed a solution, a team-based writing system that makes it fun to write and write quickly rather than taking years and years. So this is an example here of me working with a couple of members of the top development team, writing in the team-based system. And let me tell you, I have never had so much fun writing a screenplay than this process. Before this process, I would get stuck, I would be frustrated, I would have to come up with every single idea on my own. But through this process, it means that you have way more people inserting ideas into the story, way more people finding problems and making notes and making adjustments, way more people actually writing the draft, and ultimately what it becomes is a way more fun process rather than you sitting alone, banging your head against the wall, trying to finish a screenplay. Problem 3, the industry is not story focused. So here's the industry status quo. There is no unified story language, film schools are broken, and competitions and festivals get you nowhere. So what I noticed when I was a script reader, we would get all of these screenplays submitted in by professional writers, WGA writers with agents and managers, but the decisions about what screenplays turned into films, it was never a discussion about the story itself. It was always a discussion about what actors might be attached, what director might be attached, is there funding already attached? Those were the key metrics for greenlighting the film. The concern was not the story and its quality first and foremost. The other problem is that film schools don't actually lead to a career in screenwriting. So this is Ricky. Ricky went to film school. He moved to LA. He works in the industry. He worked with me and the Top Development Story framework to write well and to get his screenplays to a high level. So now he's only getting 8s and above on screenplay coverage. However, there is still no clear path for Ricky to enter the industry. He's done everything that the industry told him to do. He went to film school, he moved to LA, he's paying his dues working in the industry, he's done the work to write well, but there is still no clear path for him to see his screenplays made into films. And competitions and festivals get you nowhere. This is directly from Coverfly's website. And that says the truth is the majority of screenplay competitions simply aren't designed to launch careers. So the competitions are not meant to help you in your screenwriting career and in your screenwriting journey. They're not actually here to help you see your screenplay turned into a film. Now I'm going to hand it over to Oliver Carmack, the CEO of Top Development.
Hey everybody. My name is Oliver Carmack, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Top Development. I'm excited here just to take a few seconds to introduce myself, tell you more about my background in finance, and show you how we are taking everyone here to the top.
So I want to take just a moment and talk about some of my experience that is going to be helpful for everyone here wondering about how Top Development is going to help them solve their screenwriting problems and eventually be able to get their films on the big screen, produced, and everybody get paid. Well, I've been fortunate to be able to work on investment funds. I've been a part of some very, very large projects, billion-dollar projects in a variety of different types of investment vehicles. Everything from private equity to venture capital, to real estate, to oil and gas, and of course also film. I've had the blessing of being able to be sitting around the table with some big players discussing slate financing, production funds, hedge funds, and these sorts of things. And I have had the unique opportunity to bring in institutional capital to this space. And what I've been able to achieve here is bring large investment dollars from institutional investors, family offices, investment funds to what we're doing here at Top Development. So we've built a beautiful framework that allows us to quickly and reliably get high quality stories that then we can place capital towards to go and get those produced, right? The other thing that I think is going to be important here is typically in my career, I've always kind of stood with one foot in the creativity or inside of creative enterprises like Top Development, but also in the finance space. And it's been a very interesting ride for me. But as we're talking about the screenwriting industry and the problems of breaking in, there's a wonderful quote that I love from one of the mentors who I have followed very closely. And I relate with a lot of his ideas, Richard Branson. But there's a quote that I love from him that I think is going to be very important for all of us here. And that is, the best ideas come from frustration. And I don't know about you, but the vast majority of screenwriters that I have ever met are frustrated. They are frustrated because the industry has locked them out, has not given them power or access to actually take their ideas, to take the work that they have done, the stories that they want to tell and have told, and get them onto the big screen. all of the cards are in the hands of the studios. All of the cards are in the hands of the big investment funds. Well, at Top Development, we are here to change that dynamic. And we want to do this in a very specific way. I have talked previously about what it means to break in this industry. And what's interesting is so few people actually understand or can articulate what that is. Most people say, oh, it's getting in the WGA, or it's, getting paid to do a particular project. But here at Top Development, we have a very specific mission statement. And that is, we believe that all of us, every person out there, the reason we are attempting to become a screenwriter is because we want to tell great stories, our stories. And then we want to have these stories made into movies. It's not enough to have our stories forever on our bookshelves, printed out, and maybe only a handful of people ever even read them. It's amazing the number of screenwriters that I have spoken with, that they have a whole shelf of unproduced screenplays that have been either optioned or sold, but that's a story for another day. But again, we want to tell our great stories, your great stories, have these made into films, and then get paid consistently to do this again and again. This is what Top Development is all about. This is what we have been working on behind the scenes for years, building a process that will help each writer out there learn how to tell their great stories, and then on my side, bring in the financing, the capital, the production partners to then, in a seamless way, take those great stories and make them into movies, and have the financial backing and wherewithal to be able to help each writer that is able to accomplish the steps and go through this framework to get paid consistently to do steps 1 and 2 over and over again. It's not enough to break into the WGA or get paid on one project. It's always feast or famine. People are not getting consistent work. They'll do well on one project, but then it can be years before they even get to work on another project. That's not good enough for us, and we are solving that now. So how do we do this? How do we actually solve this big problem and make that dream available to us? Well, the answer is a story-focused studio. The problem here that we've been talking about is that studios, they hold all the cards and they are not story-focused. There's been many times where I've been sitting at the table with very large players, and the story or the quality of the screenplay, of the characters, of the arcs, of the plot, of the themes is not even brought up. It's not even a consideration. It's all the data and the actors and the placements and all of these sorts of things, the locations. It's all about the money. Now, yes, great stories do earn us lots of money, but we need a story-focused studio, that the number one metric by which everything is looked at is the quality of the story, not what actors are attached, what budgets we need, what financing we have. All of that comes when you have a story-focused studio. So how is Top Development going to go about solving all of these problems of building a story-focused studio? Well, one of the things that we're doing here is our framework gives us a reliable, consistent A-list script, something like The Gladiator. This is a script that we all love, and what we're doing here at Top Development Studios is matching up or allowing A-list scripts to meet A-list production. This is what's missing in the industry. It is not a merit-based system. The reasons why one script gets into production and a different script does not get into production is not because one script is better than the other. It's all about luck, who you know, where you've been, if you were at the right place at the right time. It is not a meritocracy. I am not trying to say, however, that there is no skill at the top or that there's no skilled professional screenwriters. That is clearly not the case. However, for the vast majority of films out there, this is not how it works. But at Top Development, this is exactly what we are doing. We together write a great script, you and your team, and we match you up directly with our production house, which is a story-focused studio, so that going from script to production is a streamlined, simple, straightforward process that's transparent and easy to understand. It is far too opaque and difficult to navigate that terrain today. That is a major problem that Top Development is coming in and simplifying. Now, how are we going to be able to do this? Well, part of that is through my extensive network of production partners. We're going to hear from just two or three people here today, but there are so many more people in the background that we will be tapping for much of this production. Let's hear from a very close friend of mine, Gil Gale.
Hey, Top Development, Gil Gale here. So I've known Oliver now for quite a few years. I'm extremely excited about what's going on and being part of Top Development. I think the ideas they have, the process they've developed, the way they're approaching screenwriting and scripts, I think is groundbreaking. Just to give you a little bit background on myself, I just finished production designing season 3 of Young Rock for NBC. Currently, I think, let me see, I have The Free Fall that's running on Hulu that I produced. I have The Triangle that's running on Amazon Prime that I produced. I think that's the only thing I have up right now. I know those for sure are running. We have other projects in development. I'm working on a film back in Los Angeles right now that starts shooting Monday with Anthony Lucero, who's a terrific filmmaker, really great indie filmmaker, who had a film called East Side Sushi that Sam Goldwyn had picked up and was on HBO forever. I think it just finally came off. But there's a lot going on, and I feel like for what I do, the kind of films I like to make, that what Top is doing is just a perfect relationship, a great marriage, and we're going to make some great things happen.
Yes, we are going to make some great things happen, and thank you, Gil. Gil is connected extensively throughout the production world, and we'll be relying on him for a lot of our first slate. Now, very exciting here. We have a number of letters of interest that I'd like to show you. So we have a lot of momentum happening right now. We have laid the tracks. We have laid the tracks, built the train, and the train is moving, ladies and gentlemen. This is going. Top Development is already pursuing slate financing right now and doing these things, and I have very strong relationships with these types of studios right here, with people at the very top, and we will be entertaining productions with these people in the future, but we will also be doing productions on our own. As I said, we have many we have our first slate of pre-productions going out right now. So this train, Top Development, is moving. It's not just starting out. This is already going. So those of you who will be joining us today will be jumping into a moving train. So how are we going to go about doing all of this? Well, very, very briefly, I'm going to talk about the 3 financing channels that I have built for us here at Top Development to make all of this a reality for you and for us and for everybody else, for all of the members of the tribe who will be joining us, right? First, we have secured investment funds, where hedge funds, family offices that will come in and give slate financing to the large number of films that we will be producing here in the next 24 months. We'll also be doing co-productions, some of those with the groups that I've mentioned above, but also many other partnerships are being formed right now. And then finally, through the studio competitions that Tyler will be walking you through now. You will find out more about how we're going to be doing that. This is insanely exciting. I hope you guys are going to come along for the ride and be active. This is going to be the place. Top Development is the place where you can change the entire trajectory of your screenwriting life. Come and join us. This is amazing. Tyler, back to you.
Problem 4. Screenwriters can't break in. So this is a Variety article talking about the Impact platform, where more than 14,000 writers tried to participate in Impact's accelerator programs with only 65 applicants admitted. So they had 65 writers admitted with 14,000 entries, meaning that you only had a 0.4% chance of doing this the industry way. Another industry way is the Nickel Fellowship. In their competition in 2021, they had 8,191 entries and 5 winners. This meant that there was only a 0.06% chance of you winning, and then from there, who knows where your script goes. This is only a 0.06% chance of winning the competition, let alone getting that screenplay actually made into a film. And so it's near impossible to have your screenplay made into a film. The way that the industry has set it up now is not clear. There is no clarity on how you are supposed to go from where you are now to the position of a screenwriter who has their screenplay made into a film and ultimately is able to build a career in screenwriting. And so we have solved this problem, and we want to open this up to you today. Solution number 4, the top development runway. So, what is the top development runway? Let me explain. There are 3 key pieces to the top development runway: the story framework, the screenwriter tribe, and the studio competition. First, the top development story framework. This framework is the exact framework I have developed after working with over 1,000 writers to clarify their story visions, to identify the problems in their screenplays and fix them so that they can create the clearest, most unified story they can tell. This exact framework is what I use to get these scores here and ultimately to create fantastic screenplays alongside writers. Again, this framework has been developed with all of the writers that you see here, listening to their concerns, listening to their problems, taking their feedback, adjusting the framework according to what's not working for them so that we can ultimately get to the final version that I'm presenting to you today. This gives you the complete story elements that you need. It gives you a way to unify those story elements into one cohesive story so that it is meaningful, clear, and interwoven. We don't want messy stories. We don't want unclear stories. We want stories that are clear, that are able to bring us on the fantastic journey that we love to go on when we go to the movies and see a fantastic film. So the top development runway includes the story framework, valued at $3,000. This is what those writers that I showed you paid me directly to work with them one-on-one to place this story framework on their screenplays and help clarify their ideas to create the most clear, unified version of their story. Next, we have the screenwriter tribe. So there's a great quote from Reid Hoffman that says, "No matter how brilliant your mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you'll always lose out to a team." And I couldn't agree more. Ultimately, this is not that revolutionary. What we're doing is writing films like a TV writer's room. This is one of the reasons that writing has been so strong and on the TV side for so long, because it's writers being able to work together in a room to throw ideas back and forth, to find the best idea together, to be able to give open criticism on what's not working with the story they are building. And this is what we want to apply to films. And you might be thinking, oh, but group projects suck. Every time I was in college working on a group project, or every time I'm at work working on a project, it's terrible and I hate it and I just want to work alone. But this runway is going to be different. Everyone you will work with has the same objective, the same framework, and has invested to be here just like you. So ultimately, you are going to be here with serious people who are passionate about screenwriting at the same level you are, who have invested in themselves to be here, and who have the same objective, which is a great screenplay, and are able to operate under a unified story language. This way, you're able to communicate with each other, understanding what you're actually saying to each other without confusion. It's time to stop being a lone wolf. When you're sitting in front of your computer and your brain hurts because you've written a few pages and you just hate every word and you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what's wrong, and you don't know anybody in your life that cares about screenwriting at the same level that you do, it's simply not the way to succeed. This is not the way that you are going to be able to build the great screenplays that you want to put up on the big screen. You cannot do this being a lone wolf. It will take you way too long, and it's way too easy to get discouraged or get put off track, and this is not the way to do it. Instead, the team-based writing system is vastly superior. I will actually never write another screenplay on my own. I had such a fantastic time doing this process alongside other screenwriters that were just as passionate as me, and we were able to speak the same language because we were looking at story in the same way so that we could create the most clear, meaningful, drama-filled story that we could build. In the community, there will be active tasks to help you learn the story framework, get feedback from me and the team, and form relationships with other writers. So the top development runway includes the story framework and the screenwriter tribe. Now, I want to talk a little bit about where else could you get a tribe like this? Well, maybe you could get one in film school, but film school is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Not only that, you would have to upend your entire life and journey to some physical location to actually work with writers rather than being able to not interrupt your life, stay where you are, but still get that screenwriter tribe around you to be able to find your team, find your writing squad, and work with them to create the best screenplay you've ever written. So the total value so far is $6,000. And finally, I'm so excited to talk about the studio competition. Here's how it works. You enter the competition, assemble a team, pick a story idea, write the script with the team, follow our example, win the competition, and have your script produced. So here's your competition odds. So for every 1,000 writers, they will be divided into 250 teams, and they will write 250 scripts. And then 10 of those screenplays will win, which means 40 writers will win. Now here's the fun part. This stays the same whether there are 1,000 writers in the competition or 100,000 writers in the competition, because each group of 1,000 writers has the same chance of winning no matter how big the competition is, because we want the best screenplays to be able to rise to the top. And this gives you way better odds than other screenplay competitions that are out there. So here's what you could get: a finished screenplay, writing team experience, cash and prizes, writing credits, a full-time writer job, and your script produced. And this is the key piece I want to make sure you understand. We will be purchasing every winning screenplay and greenlighting it for production. No other competition does this. Not a single competition other than ours is going to do this. So let me quickly run through how this competition is different. In other competitions, they are inactive, passive, with no participation. In our competition, you are actively participating each week. Other competitions, you're stuck being a lone writer with no collaborators to make your scripts better. In our competition, we give you a team, and together you will write a new screenplay. Other competitions, you have no access to speak with the judges. In our competition, you and your team can book one-on-one coaching calls with our team and judges. Other competitions are not designed to launch a screenwriter's career. Every aspect of our competition is designed and built to launch a full-time screenwriting career. The industry finds every reason to say no. We find every reason to say yes. So, the top development runway includes the story framework, the screenwriter tribe, and the studio competition for a total value of $9,000. Now, I know that seems like a big number, so let me put this into some perspective for you. These are the annual tuitions for a few of the top film schools in America. If you were to go to film school, you would be paying something like this. You would be either paying out of pocket or taking out loans to get this education. And in this education, you would not be receiving a clear runway to production that you use to write specifically with a writing team on a specific deadline to finish a specific screenplay. That is not how these film schools are set up. So ultimately, you're going to pay this price for something that is way less clear. But this way, you get the story framework, the screenwriter tribe, the studio competition to give you the full runway to getting your screenplay made into a film for a total value of $9,000. But we wanted to make this available to any screenwriter that is serious about writing well and having their screenplay turned into a film. So today, you can join the tribe for $1,999. Click the link below this video now to join the tribe today. Now, again, just to reiterate, what this runway includes is a story framework developed alongside over 1,000 writers to help them tell their best story according to their vision, a screenwriter tribe that allows you to connect with passionate screenwriters no matter where you are, and a studio competition that gives you the runway to have your screenplay made into a film. Click the link below to join for $1,999 now. So, if you're still here at this point, you care about screenwriting and you care about making great films and you are passionate about making that happen. So ultimately, you have two choices. You can continue down the path you have been going, writing by yourself, being confused about what your path would be to actually become a screenwriter and actually see your movie made, or you can join us. We put story first. Top development has been something that I have been working on for years at this point because I am extremely passionate about great films and I'm extremely passionate about great stories. And for me, there's nothing I want to do more with my life than tell great stories to people that are meaningful and that uplift them and that ultimately make their lives better and give them a fantastic, entertaining experience that also can be purposeful and meaningful and valuable to their lives. And that's why I've done this. And that's why I'm here talking to you today. And so ultimately, we all want to tell great stories, have them made into movies, and get paid consistently to do this again and again. And we have created the runway for you to do just that. The competition begins April 10th. Join the tribe today, click the link below, and start your journey. The sooner you get in, the sooner you can learn our framework and find your writing team so that you can knock this competition out of the park and see your screenplay made into a film. Click the link below, join the Top Development Runway. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. For those of you that are still here, that are passionate about screenwriting, that are passionate about good movies, that want to see good movies when you go to the theater, that want to see good movies when you sit down to watch a movie in your living room, this is for you. There is nothing that we at Top Development are more passionate about than great stories and great films, and I hope you will join us. Click the link below.